The period of Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari has rapidly become one of the most intense narratives of the Formula One season of 2025. After years of harmony and dominance at Mercedes, his new chapter with the team in red is already filled with frustrations, unforeseen events, and a tension that grows not only on the track, but also in radio communications during the Chinese Grand Prix. That tension spilled over once again in a surprising exchange of leaked messages, revealing how strained the communication between Hamilton and his new race engineer Riccardo Adami had become. What initially should have been a simple mid-race strategic call transformed into a series of delayed responses, hesitations, and noticeable friction, all captured live during the race and now echoing throughout the paddock. For a driver with Hamilton's experience, who for more than a decade built an almost instinctive connection with Peter Bonington, these clumsy and at times brusque conversations with Adami sound completely out of the ordinary, prompting fans to wonder if Hamilton is losing patience with the decisions made by Ferrari on race day. This scenario is compounded by the fact that Ferrari's race pace was noticeably below expectations in China, worsened by a disaster that involved a double disqualification for technical infraction, resulting in a team that not only performed below par, but also appears to be falling apart. Hamilton may have begun this journey filled with hope, but with every lap and every radio message, the cracks become more evident. In this video, we will dissect, word for word, what transpired between Hamilton and his engineer. We will analyze how the situation evolved, what it reveals about Ferrari's internal dynamics, and what implications it might have for Hamilton's confidence and future results. Therefore, do not forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and most importantly, watch until the end, as this radio leak reveals far more than mere frustration. It may mark the beginning of something much larger. The weekend in China should have been an opportunity for restructuring for both Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari, with all eyes on how the team would react and on the possibility of Hamilton returning to his usual pace. However, what unfolded on that Sunday afternoon was anything but smooth. From the very first lap, events became complicated, not because of the competition, but due to Ferrari's own internal dynamics. When the lights went out, Charles Leclerc ended up brushing too close along the inner curb and clipped the side of Hamilton's car, causing damage to his own front wing. Fortunately for Hamilton, his vehicle remained unscathed, but the contact generated immediate tension between the teammates despite the damage. Even so, Ferrari assured Leclerc that his car was still performing well and that he should keep pushing. Surprisingly, he followed that guidance, quickly finding his rhythm and, in a few laps, closing in on Hamilton. It was at that point that the now infamous radio exchange began. Hamilton's initial message to his engineer Riccardo Adami sounded like that of a true team player. "I believe I will let Charles pass because I am experiencing difficulty." Adami promptly replied, "Understood." At that moment, everyone expected a brief and clear exchange between the drivers. But soon Hamilton altered his tone. He insisted on keeping Leclerc directly behind, stating that the teammate needed to get closer. The team once again suggested that the position change occur at the 14th corner, to which Hamilton responded, "I will let Charles pass when he is closer." When Adami inquired whether the swap could happen in that same lap, Hamilton's direct reply was, "I will indicate the right moment for the change." These words made an impact not only because of the tension they revealed, but also because they exposed a level of resistance and distrust unusual for Hamilton. Fans immediately noticed the difference in this dialogue compared to his days at Mercedes under Bonington's guidance, where the driver demonstrated pace, self-confidence, and a clear harmony with his engineer, even when faced with setbacks and ambiguous messages. During the race, Hamilton eventually allowed Leclerc to pass on lap 21, but the damage was already done. The delay cost Ferrari precious seconds. Leclerc's engineer even apologized for the lost time. Later, Verstappen managed to overtake Leclerc for fourth position, a move that might not have occurred if Ferrari had executed the team orders more swiftly. Meanwhile, Hamilton dropped to sixth place, finishing the race more than 25 seconds behind Oscar Piastri, who dominated the contest. After the race, Hamilton was surprisingly brief at the press conference. He uttered only 38 words in response to 2 questions, telling Sky Sports that he faced difficulties, that there were no issues at the rear of the car, and that afterward the vehicle did not handle turns at low speed, concluding that the problem lay in his pace. This final remark adds further mystery to the radio exchange, suggesting that Hamilton felt the team was not assisting him in reaching the expected performance, forcing him to improvise just to remain competitive. And this is not the first time communication has proven problematic this season. In the Australian race, Hamilton asked Adami to leave him alone after being inundated with numerous messages during a chaotic contest. Now, only 1 race later, he is resisting a team order and reasserting control over the strategic timing. These incidents form a pattern that points to Hamilton's growing frustration with how Ferrari communicates and operates during races. When driving a car that, at best, is the 3rd fastest on the grid, having a clear and decisive team is not a luxury, but a necessity. Meanwhile, Ferrari is still struggling to recover from a double disqualification in Australia, and now from a race that, despite showing flashes of pace, was once again outperformed by McLaren and Red Bull. Charles Leclerc may have secured a good qualifying position, but he too left China frustrated with how the race unfolded. The tension among teammates, the confused communication, and the below-expectation performance combined to make the experience with the team in red far more challenging than anticipated. For Hamilton, who joined Ferrari seeking a fresh start, a renewed challenge, and the opportunity to make history with the most legendary team in Formula One, the reality so far has been marked by frustrations and a team still learning how to manage 2 elite drivers in a vehicle that does not meet their ambition. The pressing question now is whether Ferrari will be able to reorganize and rebuild the internal structure that Hamilton clearly needs to thrive. Can the team adapt not only technically but also culturally in a way that aligns with how Hamilton performs under pressure? The challenge is not limited merely to quicker pit stops or more precise strategic calls. It is about restoring trust, synchronizing decision-making, and building that harmony that Hamilton once experienced with his former engineers at Mercedes. Without that synergy, no car performance will be sufficient to unleash its full potential. Hamilton is not known for reacting emotionally without reason. His frustration, evident both in his radio responses and in post-race interviews, indicates a deeper disconnect that goes beyond a simple communication lapse. It is about feeling truly heard, trusting completely in the professional on the other end of the radio, and believing that the team will be there when the pressure mounts. At present, that connection still appears fragile. As for Riccardo Adami, the responsibility is enormous. Working with a driver of Hamilton's caliber represents both an opportunity and an immense commitment. Communication is not merely about transmitting strategy. It involves tone, timing, and trust, qualities that require time to consolidate. But in a sport as unforgiving as Formula One, time is a scarce resource. Adami and Hamilton need to find an appropriate rhythm quickly if Ferrari is to avoid falling even further behind Red Bull and McLaren in the championship standing. Furthermore, Ferrari itself needs to elevate its performance. Although China did not spark any regulatory controversies, it exposed weaknesses in team management and strategic execution. Fans and experts are beginning to question whether the organization will be able to achieve results under pressure, especially now that it counts on one of the greatest drivers in the history of the sport. The upcoming races will be absolutely crucial, not only for the points, but also for morale. If Ferrari can deliver an organized and efficient weekend, where Hamilton and Leclerc feel supported and confident in their car and strategy, that may be enough to change the narrative. On the other hand, if the missteps continue to accumulate, the tension will only grow, both within the team and in the media. Now, we hand the floor over to the Formula One community. How do you assess the communication breakdown during the Chinese Grand Prix? Was Hamilton simply frustrated in the heat of the moment? Or does this signal the beginning of something more serious behind the scenes at Ferrari? Will the relationship between driver and engineer, this new dynamic, withstand this level of scrutiny? Or are we witnessing the start of a story that could define the entire season of 2025? Share your thoughts in the comments, as we want to hear every perspective. If you are following this content and wish to stay up to date on every dramatic twist, every explosive radio message, and every strategic misstep in this season of high stakes. Do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and activate all notifications, because with the way things are going, the next major controversy could arise at any moment, and we will be here to bring you all the details. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.